I'm James Chemplaville, and I'm here to tell you about Wendy. Wendy's a 25-year-old preschool teacher. She drives to work every day in her car until she gets into a car accident. Now, even though Wendy has car insurance, she can't afford the deductible that it takes to get that car fixed. And her credit score isn't good enough to borrow the money that she needs. So Wendy tries to take the bus to work, but after a few days of being late, the preschool where she works fires her. Wendy loses her job. It's not because of anything she did as an employee. It's because she couldn't borrow money when she needed it. And Wendy's not a hypothetical scenario. Wendy was my son's preschool teacher. And she's how I learned firsthand what happens to people when they can't borrow money when they need it the most. Now, Wendy's not alone. Nearly half of adults in the US don't have a prime credit score. So when a financial shock occurs in their life, they're forced to go to alternative credit providers that are overpriced, inflexible, and leave them no better off than where they started. Now, in the old days, this used to mean payday lenders and pawn shops. But now, it means digital lenders and neobanks that are going to turn solving Wendy's problem into stealing that member for good. And who are these microloan borrowers? Well, based on our data, they make about $46,000 a year. They're 29 years old. 87% of these borrowers are Gen Zs and millennials. And they're looking to borrow $171 on average. But 95% of them don't have a prime credit score, which means when they go to their credit union to try to get a solution, they fall out of the credit box and they're declined. And this is a problem for credit unions and their members right now, because this is a heat map of the credit unions that we see across the country most frequently, whose members are online applying for microloans at our fintech partners. In fact, 68% of the credit unions here today, you have members online applying for microloans right now. And that's an opportunity for a Chime and a Dave to solve that problem for the member and steal them for good. That's the problem. So what can we do about it? Well, Salus is here to help you serve your underserved members better through two tools. The first tool is the Salus platform for microloans. Now, a microloan is a loan of $50 to $400 paid back in equal monthly installments of 1 to 4 months in tenor. And how do we underwrite them? Well, we can take the data that you already have on your member, credit data, alternative data, most importantly, transaction data. We can take that data and turn it into a customizable automated risk score. That score is customizable to the risk tolerance of your credit union and comes fully explainable with adverse action notices in case the member doesn't get approved for that microloan. So how does it work? Well, when we integrate to your credit union and a member needs to borrow a microloan, they get passed via SSO to a fully digital application flow that's white labeled with your branding. And because we integrate to your core processor, it turns out that we can pre-fill the information that we need to underwrite that member as they're going through the application. So when they come to apply for a microloan, we get the data that we need, we bump it up against your risk tolerance, and then we show the member the microloans that they qualify for that day based on your risk tolerance. The member chooses the microloan that suits their need best. They review the terms and conditions, or the till box. They can look at it in English or in Spanish if they prefer. And once they've decided that this is the solution that they need, they can electronically sign that loan agreement, and because we're integrated to the core, we can book it to the core and disperse the funds to the member that day. That is the power of a digitally delivered microloan solution for underserved borrowers. Lenders using the Salus microloan platform have made over 10,000 microloans to borrowers across the country, including to credit union members, with an average credit score in the 570s. And not only can we point to lower charge-off rates than you would expect with credit score underwriting, more importantly, we are helping credit unions and lenders find the Wendys of the world whose credit score doesn't tell you how creditworthy they actually are. Now, that's one tool that you can use to help. That's half of the equation. How do we help? But the other half is, when do we help? And that's where the stress score comes in. The stress score is an AI-powered tool that lets you analyze your members daily for signs of financial stress and offer a customized solution for their financial stress needs. That means that when you log into your Salus platform, you can see what members are being monitored. You can see what proportion of them are currently in a state of financial stress. You can click into the member, and you can see the specific relationship info about that member, including the upcoming loan payments that they may have with your credit union. You can see the drivers that are spiking that stress score for the member, and then you can reach out with customized options. Maybe you want to invite them to see a financial counselor. Maybe you want to offer them a Salus-powered microloan. Maybe you just want to offer them a skip-a-pay on one of their upcoming loan payments. This is a customized solution for a member in financial distress. Now, what are the benefits for the credit union in offering something like this to your members? Well, as I mentioned, microloan borrowers are young. They're younger than the US population, and they're far younger than the average credit union member. Now, why does that matter? It matters because compared to your Gen X and baby boomer member cohorts, Gen Zs and millennials are far more likely to be interested in an auto loan or a mortgage loan in the next 5 years. Now, maybe they're not ready for you to give them that loan today, but what you can do is you can give them the short-term loan that they need and want right now and start the trip that ends with the loan that they need down the line. And that's really what we're trying to power. You know, I talked to a credit union lending manager in Philadelphia. They had a young woman come into their branch. She needed a couple $100s. They did not have a loan coded in the system, but they found a way to get her that money. Not only did she pay back that loan in full, but 10 years later, both her family's car loans and their family mortgage loan is with that credit union. They helped her in her moment of need, and she rewarded them with years of member loyalty. That's the story that we're trying to power. Because when you think about Wendy, her story's not a good one. It's the story of a small emergency that turns into a disaster. But credit unions, using Salus, have the power to change that story. Wendy's new story can be the story where Wendy goes to the credit union she trusts, gets the solution that she wants, and turns that into years of value for the member and the credit union alike. That's what we're here to do. So if you're ready to help turn a microloan into members for life, come see me and let's talk. Thank you for your time.